So my wife and I finally got our son into preschool in Hawaii. Yeah. And you may have heard the stories about how hard it is to get into preschool in Hawaii and how expensive it can be, and those are absolutely true. But we are past that and we live to tell about it, and so I thought we'd share our experience on applying to preschools and that whole process, and also answer some common questions that people may have. Are you ready? Okay, here we go.
Hello from Hawaii.
So our strategy for applying for preschools was pretty loose, I think.
Yeah, we didn't even have a strategy, did we?
Not really. Like, I think a lot of people are like, oh, you gotta apply when the kid's born. But
Yeah.
we didn't. Our son was almost 3. That's when we started like looking and applying around. We applied for one school, which was, we'll just call School A.
Yeah.
Very popular school, good location, and a lot of good things.
Convenience.
Yeah, a lot of good things that were said about School A. And so we applied, and I don't know, I'm just hopeful that we could get in the fall. So we're talking like, we applied in January before he turned 3, and then just to hope that he can get a spot like in August. And then your friend told you about another school, we'll just call it School B, which is a charter school. So why did we look at that school in particular?
I think one of the reasons why we looked at that school was they had the inclusion classes.
Oh yeah. There's like special ed classes,
Yeah.
and then there's like inclusion classes,
Yeah.
which is where they combine like, I guess, regular kids, and then like kids who, like, they go out to get help every so often, and they bring them back into the class, so they're still like
They have
interacting.
basically blended class.
Yeah.
My friend told me that it's a lottery system, so that's why we were like, okay, let's try and see if we get him, because if he did, that's good. Well, back then we thought that was the best option for him.
Yeah, I mean, number one, it was free, right? Because it's public. So
yeah.
charter school, but it's public charter school. And then second was the inclusion classroom, which I thought that would be the best for our son, with his speech help services that he would need, and then also just to be around other kids. And then we applied in like April.
Yeah, I think by end of April,
Yeah.
the last week of April. It was pretty last minute.
Yeah,
we only had like 1 week to prepare like the
application.
paperwork.
So we applied, and then they had the lottery date.
Yeah, lottery day, which was the same day as when we went to visit School C.
Yeah, let's call it School C. So I was looking around for different schools because, again, this is like when was that?
That was
like
May.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, we're running out of time here. And so May comes along, and it's like, okay, let's go start looking around. So I start looking around, and then there's a school that I was interested in, School C. And so we went down there to check it out, and they have like a Montessori style.
It's not really so group oriented, more like they focus on their individual growth and their own interests, basically respecting their own individuality and what they really enjoy.
And it's a pretty small preschool.
Very small.
So I think that was good too, because for our son, I think he needs a lot of attention. So I think that was important. And then after we had that visit, so after the visit, like we're driving back.
Yeah, you're driving back home.
And then that's when they had the lottery
Yeah.
for School B.
Yeah.
And so it was on Zoom.
Zoom?
Yeah.
I think it was on Zoom.
And they were just randomly pulling out numbers, and so there were 7 spots.
Yeah, there were only 7 spots.
Yeah, and so basically, after the 7 spots, you're on the wait list. And so we were listening to the Zoom call as we're driving home, and we're hoping to hear his number, one at a time, one and nothing. So he's not even in a 7, and I was pretty confident he would get in the 7. I don't know why, I just thought he would. So he's out, right? But then, there's still a chance that maybe he can go on the wait list. If he's like maybe in the top, 3 or
10,
maybe there's a chance, right?
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah.
But they kept calling numbers, so that pretty much closed that option for School B.
I know, which was a bummer.
Yeah, it was
but
a
then I guess it was very clear that we were like, okay, this is not the option for us, so let's just move on.
Yeah. So then we were looking at School D, which would be mostly just for his speech services here locally. It would be fairly close to us, and when we went down there to go and check it out, I thought it was pretty good. It sounded really good. Unfortunately, I think when we were talking about what types of services would be available to our son, it just didn't seem like it was enough. It wouldn't be full-time, it would barely be even what I consider part-time. That was a little disappointing.
Very
You know,
disappointing.
we did check out another school.
Oh yeah.
Was that E?
A, B, C, D, E.
E. Okay. We also checked out another school.
School,
E.
yeah. We thought
We actually thought it.
we would send him there,
yeah.
like as an option.
Yeah. And it's
But it's a great
Yeah, it's a
school.
great school. But when we did our visit, right? What did you think about it?
I don't know. I just didn't feel it.
Mm.
I just didn't feel it. I don't know if you know what you mean. You know, I believe in my first instinct very much. So I just wasn't inspired to send him there for some reason.
So we know people that actually send their
Yeah,
kids there.
yeah.
so,
We know like several
Yeah.
kids that
Yeah.
I mean families that send them there, and then I think if the parents are satisfied with it, I mean, it's perfect. But then I just didn't feel it.
Yeah.
That I was like, I don't think this. I mean, as much as I know it's a good school, the school that will probably provide good like academic background for kindergarten and stuff. I don't think it was the best for our son.
Yeah. When we went to school E, I was just like kind of surprised because I thought it would be like up on my list. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, he's probably gonna go here, you know.
Yeah.
But then just kind of like walking around, I kind of got the same thing. Again, not it's
Nothing
a bad
wrong
school.
with it.
I just had a hard time picturing our son going there, and then
Yeah.
the support that he would need. You know, but it's okay. You know, I think that was fine.
Yeah. After all, it was
Yeah.
fine.
So now we're down to two schools,
Yeah,
which was
A
A
and C.
and C,
Yeah.
and it was tough. And we're going back and forth and back and forth. And,
Contacting the
Yeah.
school and all that.
And that's tough when you're trying to do that. But ultimately, why did we pick school C?
Like I felt really comfortable sending our son to the preschool C because it's just the way he is as a person, his character, and the fact that the classes are very small. He gets to interact with kids that are older than him.
Yeah.
I think that will be a good inspiration and good good inspiration for him. If we send him into a normal, I guess, non-Montessori style, he will be with the kids that are his age, and then, which is perfectly fine, but it will be bigger class. The fact that the classes are smaller, the teachers can focus a lot more individually, and the fact that at home he's the older one, but then when he goes to school, he'll be kind of at the youngest one.
He's like the youngest one, probably.
Yeah, so I thought that's also a good environment for him to learn and observe other kids that are older than him.
Yeah.
Just felt good about sending him there.
Yeah, me too. I think as we're going through this process, it kind of just felt like that was the school. As much as maybe we looked at other schools and doors just closed and options just closed, and it was just like, oh, okay. And I guess it just made that school look like, okay, maybe this was where he should be. That's the best place for him. I think it's easier when options close than if you got like 5 options and you're like, oh, which one do I pick, right? If it's like down to like 2, it makes it a little easier, you know.
For sure. Yeah, and also when we visited this preschool C, they were like, oh, how's the potty training going? And back then I'm not sure we had him.
Yeah, he wasn't potty trained yet.
Yeah, so we're like, we're actually working on it. And then like, they're really open about it. Like, well, now that he's basically done with potty training, but they were like, oh, if you have accident, it's okay. Like, it's not like they're gonna kick us
like very
out.
understanding.
Yeah, they were very understanding of the
really nice.
situation. So, that was a big relief.
Yeah. But yeah, so now he's in. Okay, so I want to go over some common questions that people might have and just kind of give our thoughts. Okay, so how expensive is preschool in Hawaii, and then how are we paying for it? I think they estimate that preschool in Hawaii is between $1,000 and $1,500 a month, which I think is a fair range.
Really?
Yeah.
I know schools that are over 2,000.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it can get very, it can get like very expensive.
Yeah.
So the price is definitely a lot. If you're paying that much, I mean, you're almost entering rent or mortgage territory, and I think that's why, it's sad that 40% of Hawaii kids don't go to preschool before kindergarten.
Yeah.
Because their family just cannot afford it. I know that they're doing a lot to try to increase preschool access through like public school. But even that public school system,
That's not enough, yeah.
Yeah, it's just not going to be enough because it's location based, first off, and it's income based. The way that public preschools are currently set up, is there's very limited spots. You have to live in that area near the school. You can't make over a certain amount of money, which is, again, really tough. So although it's nice that it's public preschool, at this point, it's not serving everyone. For us, you know, we've been saving for this. So we have savings to help pay for preschool.
We have budget every month.
Yeah, we budget it, and you know it works out for us. I know a lot of people also ask grandma, grandpa to pay for preschool, so that's very common here. There's also subsidies that you can get from the state, but again, those are income based. What do you think the most important thing is when you look for a preschool?
Finding school that you think is the best for your own children, not necessarily the convenience for us as parents, or the reputation even, you know.
Yeah.
Because when you start talking with other moms, it's like, oh, like where did you apply for, you know, preschools and all that. You will hear a lot of common school names, and that makes you think like, oh, because somebody sends their kid there, oh, I have to send them to the same school, or like that's the only option. But no, not necessarily. And you kind of just have to, sometimes you just have to kind of look beyond your own area just a little bit. Not saying you have to like apply somewhere that's 30 minutes away from where you live, but just to think outside of your box and see what are the options. There are options out there, it's just that some of them are just not common, not popular, or you know. And that's why you have to kind of be alert and just be very open to those selections too. I think the most important is what you think is the best for your own children, and their needs is something that you should never forget.
Yeah, I agree. I think you have to look at your own kids' needs, and you have to be confident in that decision to do that, because you know, if you try to Google this, you know, you're gonna find the same schools that probably advertise to be up on the top of the list, or you're gonna find, you know, the Hawaii Magazine's top preschool list, or whatever it's gonna be, right? And so you think you just gotta apply to those schools, and if you don't, you're a bad parent. That's what it's gonna feel like. But actually, you know, try looking for maybe some of the smaller schools that a lot of people aren't even talking about, like the school that we sent him. Like, I don't think I've ever heard anybody even mention it.
No, not at all.
Yeah, like there's a lot of other schools around here that get a lot of attention, and like everyone applies for them, and that's why they're so difficult. But like, but like some of these other schools, like because there's no marketing, because there's no word of mouth among a certain type of family or area, demographic or whatever, it's actually easier to get into those schools, and you might get like just as good education or better because that school is smaller, or it meets the needs of your kid better than like some of these well-known preschools that take plenty kids, and they might not like that, you know. And I think having that confidence to be like, okay, this is what my kid needs, let me go shopping around for what my kid needs, not what other parents say, you know, but like what my kid actually needs, and what we think our son will benefit the most from. And that takes a lot of courage, it takes a lot of resolve, and you just have to be very confident in your decisions as a parent. But I'm glad that he can be in a place where, you know, at least for a part of the day, where he can, you know, be around other kids and play with toys and learn and just understand like more social things, you know.
Yeah, because he didn't really have that opportunity, because he was he was born when the COVID was starting too, so you know, very different.
Hope you found this video helpful. Thanks for watching, and aloha.